I see it's 10 o'clock. I want to say welcome to everyone. We're going to give people just a few more minutes to join in. We don't want anyone to miss any bit of our webinar today, but welcome and we'll get started shortly. All right, good morning, everyone. Just a reminder here, you can see welcome, first of all, and just so you know, we encourage you to anonymously submit any questions throughout the presentation in the Q&A box. You'll find that typically at the bottom of your screen, you have the option to click a check mark if you'd like to remain anonymous, or go ahead and submit your questions for us. We'll answer them at the end of our presentation today. All right. Well, good morning, all. My name is Tanya Torres. I am the manager for the client services team here at Donor Egg Bank USA. Been here since 2017. And today on our webinar and this National Infertility Awareness Week, we have some great information. We have our wonderful guest, Ali. And today what we'll be discussing is a little bit about Donor Egg Bank USA. We're going to welcome Ali and hear about her story. She's going to share some information with us. And then at the end, we'll have a quick overview of what offerings we have at Donor Egg Bank USA. And then we're going to have space for Q&A. So we look forward to hearing from you, your participation. We appreciate you being with us today. So just a quick overview in case you don't know who Donor Egg Bank USA is. We're the #1 donor egg bank in the US. Since 2012, we performed more than 13,000 egg warmings, and we've helped almost 10,000 families. We have one of the largest categories in the industry with 200 plus qualified donors, all whom have received extensive genetic screenings, psychological screenings, and infectious disease screenings. We have a live birth guarantee, which offers peace of mind, and we have a dedicated client services team ready to help you on every step of the way. So without more detail, we're gonna go in to talk to Ali. We want to hear your story. Ali, thank you so much for being with us today. I'll let you introduce yourself and let me know, how I can help along the way.
Thank you, Tanya. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. I'm so happy to be here and to be able to share my story. It was a bit of a long road, but I'm on the other side of it, and it's wonderful. So these are photos of my family. So the little girl that is solo, that is Marissa. She is now 11, and she is my donor egg baby. The photo in the middle is the four of us. So my husband, Ryan, myself, my daughter, Jana, who literally was our miracle one good egg, and then Marissa. So, these girls are the loves of my life. So a little bit about me. I'm 48. And I am a wife, a mom, and a business leader right outside of the Washington, D.C. area. I am a Resolve peer support group leader and actually a former support group member. Resolve really was my lifeline when I was going through my fertility struggles all those years ago. And I always had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to host a support group one day. I didn't know what that was going to look like. I didn't know when. And then one day, last year, I started to think, yeah, I think I'm ready to do it. So I'm born and raised in the DC area. I went to Penn State. I went to college in Pennsylvania and settled back in Maryland afterwards. And I've been here ever since. So Resolve, a little bit about Resolve and what they do. So Resolve is the National Infertility Association. It's a nonprofit patient advocacy group. Resolve's mission is really to provide access to care, advocacy for coverage, access to support and community access to education, and awareness of all family building options. National Infertility Awareness Week, which we are in the middle of right now. It was established in 1989 by Resolve, and their mission is to, it's a movement that the mission of National Infertility Awareness Week, it's a movement to reduce the stigma and educate the public about reproductive health. They raise awareness this week around issues that make family building a challenge for many. And we want to empower those who are forever changed by family building struggles. So it's a week that there's so much focus on raising awareness of what it is to struggle with infertility. So my involvement with the Resolve, as I said, I had belonged to a support group in the early 2000s when my husband and I were really first starting our struggle to build our family. The group that I joined, and back then everything was in person. There was no virtual option. It was a DC Crossroads group. So what that meant was we were a group of women we were at a crossroads, literally. We had done IVF, we had done IUI. We weren't sure what the next step was going to be for us. Some people were thinking about being child-free, some were considering adoption, but this was a group of those of us that were truly at a point where we had a lot of decisions to make, and it really felt good to be with people who were at that stage that I was. And as I said, I always had wanted to be a peer leader, and once we resolved our family, it really took me about 10 years to finally take the plunge and be in a space where I felt like I could be there to support others in their journeys. So a little bit about how I got to the egg donation decision. So, my husband and I got married in the early 2000s, started trying to conceive when we were 28, 29 in 2005. And it didn't take long to realize that this was not going to be as easy as we had hoped it was going to be. I had my first miscarriage about 10 months into trying. And at that point, there had been no success at all. And I basically found out that I had been pregnant with the miscarriage. We kept going for a little bit, and then we had our first meeting with a fertility specialist in 2006. And I think I had had one more miscarriage before we did that. And tests were run, and I was diagnosed with unexplained infertility, which many of us are. And that could be a really frustrating diagnosis. But they were confident that, with the right treatment, we would be successful. So we started with IUI, did a couple of those, and I think at one point my ovaries weren't being cooperative, so we moved straight into IVF. I'm gonna try to give you guys the cliff notes and not dwell on a lot of the time it took, but we had over that time about 4 failed IVFs with one clinic, and we felt like it was time to explore other options. And being in the DC area, we're so fortunate to have so many options for fertility specialty clinics. So we moved to a different one. I ended up having a couple of more miscarriages during that time, one more IVF, which it was the only IVF that led to a pregnancy with my own eggs. But at 10 weeks, unfortunately, the heart stopped. So needless to say, that was pretty devastating. And at that point, my husband and I decided it was time to pursue egg donation. We were just done. And so, as we were starting to look into that process, I got pregnant with my daughter, Jana. And I thought I was miscarrying because I was going through some bleeding. And that to me was always a clue that I was miscarrying. And it turned out that it was not a miscarriage. I was having a subchorionic bleed, which resolved over like a 10-week period. And, it took me about 25 weeks to actually believe that this was going to happen. And I had Jana. And so we were encouraged that, okay, well, maybe my eggs aren't all terrible. So we decided to try again. About 6 months, my daughter was 6 months old. We went through, we said, we're going to do it again. We just decided to keep going. And I went through 2 more failed IVF cycles. I ended up also having an ectopic pregnancy during that time and lost a tube. It was really scary. But that was one of the miscarriages. And I think I had 1 more cycle and had a chemical pregnancy. And that's where we said, okay, we have given it a full try. And we know that we want to expand our family. So it's time for us to go back and start looking into egg donation again. And we knew that that was the direction we wanted to go in. And we set out to do that. And it worked the very first cycle. And we were actually sharing a donor with 2 other couples. So it was a really great, it made the cost a little bit more reasonable for us. And my daughter Marissa was born on March 3rd, 2013. And I never looked back. And we're so grateful that egg donation is an option, because it was really validating for me that my eggs were the issue the whole time. And I always knew that I wanted to be able to share my story and not have it be such a hidden gem of a gift. So that's why I'm here today. So advice, people ask me all the time, especially in my group, what advice do I have for those that are struggling? And it's tough because I definitely went through my really, really dark times. I really struggled, but if I have to take kind of step aside and think about it, knowledge, number one, knowledge is power. Do your research, educate yourself about all your options, because there are many, many, many options out there. And also, if you are not happy with the clinic that you're in, or it just doesn't feel right, get another opinion. Go talk to another specialist. There are so many options out there. The second one, and this is something I say all the time because I'm proof of it. If you want to be a parent, you will be. It's not always going to look like what you had hoped it would look like. It may not come about in the way that you imagine, but it will happen. Especially now in this day and age, science has come so far. It's going to happen if you want it to be. Another piece of advice: if you decide to pursue another journey to parenthood, you need to allow yourself time to grieve what you imagined your path was supposed to look like. When you look around and you see so many people getting pregnant, so easily, at least it seems, and you wished that it would be you, that wishing isn't going to get you anywhere, unfortunately. It's okay to grieve and just move on and find what your path is going to look like. Another tip is allow yourself to take breaks and give yourself time in between cycles. You want to let your mind and your body heal a little bit, because it can be very taxing. As you know, if you're going through treatment right now, all of the hormones wreak havoc on your emotions, on your body, and it's really good to give yourself time in between. And last, but certainly not least, seek professional counseling, or it shouldn't be exclusive, join a support group. It's wonderful to be able to find people who understand the journey you're going through and can relate to what you're going through. I know some people don't talk about their experiences with their family and their friends outside of professional counseling or a support group. So you've got to have that outlet for being able to release some of your emotions. how to get involved with Resolve. So there is the link, www.resolve.org. And what you can do if you would like to search for a support group, you just go to search for a support group in your area. And there are virtual support groups available everywhere. Yes, so you go to find a support group. You can also find a professional who specializes in working with people with fertility struggles. But, my group is the Rockville General Infertility Support Group. We're virtual. We meet the second Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m. Eastern Time over Zoom. And our group is always open, and you can come and go as you please. And we are a group of people that are at different stages of their fertility journeys. So we did meet once in person for the local Maryland people. It was really fun. So we hope to do that again. But I encourage you to get involved with Resolve and look at all the resources that they offer. So many ways to get involved and just feel supported. And that's me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Allie. I really appreciate you
Yeah,
sharing.
absolutely.
Um, so let's jump into a little summary about offerings at Donor Egg Bank USA. And I see so our Q&A is building up, so we'll have some wonderful chit chat at the end. Um, I did see a question that I did want to answer. We are recording, so we do hope to be able to share this in the near future should you miss any chunk of our webinar today. All right, so let's jump into offerings that we have available, which we'll start off talking about our assured refund plan. This plan offers a live birth guarantee or a refund. So we guarantee that you'll be bringing home your baby, and if we're not able to help you achieve that, you will be getting a full refund of this plan fee. Majority of our clients are going to be successful. And the benefit and the beauty of this plan is that it gives you multiple opportunities to get to success. Um, some people will have success in that first cycle of eggs. Some people might need 2 tries. Some people might need 3 tries. We just, we don't know for every individual what that might look like, but that is essentially the beauty of this plan because it gives you those multiple opportunities without having to worry that you're starting all over again. The plan in itself is protecting you. This plan also provides unlimited frozen embryo transfer cycles, which just translates into should any one egg lot result in 2, 3, 4 embryos, which with, I just from my personal experience and what I see, the technique and technology is just getting better and better. So a lot of people aren't ending up with more than one embryo. The Assured Refund Plan the freezing of those embryos and then transfers in the future if you don't get to a live birth are included as a part of the plan. And then another benefit of the plan is if you have your baby and you have remaining embryos, those embryos are yours. I mentioned the 100% refund if you're not successful, and you also have the option of a 50% refund while you're in the plan if you decide that it's not the plan you want to continue in. So you have the option to withdraw yourself and remove yourself from it. The price does vary from practice to practice. So if you have questions about offerings of the Assured Refund Plan at your clinic, I encourage you to give us a call. My team is on the phones from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, ready to assist and answer any of your questions to the best of our ability. We have our multi-egg lot refund plan, which is very similar to the assured refund plan. I'll just mention the main differences between this one and the assured refund. Not every clinic is going to offer the assured refund. A lot of them do, But the multi-egg lot refund is an option if your clinic doesn't offer the assured refund, or if you have coverage for fertility services, for example, thawing of eggs or an embryo transfer. Like if you have insurance coverage for items like that, the multi-egg lot refund plan is a good option because this plan provides you with the guarantee. And it gives you up to 4 egg lots, but it's just for the eggs. It's not including procedures. So you're able to use your benefits at your clinic for services that you need, and you still have the protection of 100% refund or the option of the 50% refund should you decide to leave the plan. But again, multiple opportunities to get to success with the protection of the live birth guarantee or a refund. Some other plans we offer are our single cycle plan, which is it's sort of just what it sounds like. It's 1 egg lot and then procedures for 1 cycle. Um, we have our single egg lot, which is again just what it sounds like, just the eggs being shipped to your clinic, and a double egg lot plan, which gives you a slightly discounted option to get 2 egg lots or more. Um, all of our all of our egg lots come with a blastocyst guarantee, and I think a lot of people may have questions surrounding that aspect of things, and we can certainly answer your questions by phone. We also have chat, and we also have a contact us if you want to shoot us an email. So, like I mentioned, we'd love to hear from you. You can register on our database for free. There's no obligation, there's no sign up fee, there's nothing like that. You may register to have a preview. You'll get an email to verify your email address, and upon verifying your email, you'll have full access to our donor profiles. And you'll even have the ability to select a donor should you find the right one. Um, that'll start our process of getting in touch with you. We'll gather some information and get in touch with your clinic. Our website, donoreggbankusa.com. We also have our phone number here listed, 240-778-6210. We also have an 800 number, which is 855-344-2265. Or you can send us an email. But we really, truly welcome questions just about even just exploring what your options are, or maybe getting some help navigating yourself towards the next step. And like I said, it's free to register. And so even if you're just thinking about this as an option, I think it's important to ask those questions, even if you're not sure if you're moving forward in this way, because I think it's part of kind of what Ali was mentioning of digesting and figuring out like what is your plan for your family. And it may be that it looks like how you plan, but it might not be how you thought it was going to go. And this might show you a way where a way that it could go that is still a good fit for you. So we'd love to hear from you and try to answer all your questions as best as we can. Okay, so we do have some Q&As started here. And I think the first question I see, I think, is definitely for you about, difficulty finding a donor.
Yes. There are some great questions, by the way. Thank you so much for, being very honest about your questions. So I'm having a very difficult time finding a donor that I like. How long did it take you to find one? Is it wrong to be picky? Such a good question. And it's a reality that everybody's different in how they approach finding a donor. My husband and I we talked about it before we sort of dove into the catalog. that we were looking at. And we talked about kind of the most important things for us. As you can see, I have dark hair and dark eyes. So appearance wasn't necessarily important to us, except for the fact that, you know, maybe I shouldn't pick somebody who's blonde hair, blue eyes. But, you know, physical appearance wasn't as important to us as kind of medical history, just, and, you know, everybody kind of, they do that due diligence of screening and health. We did not dwell for months. We knew that we wanted to move forward. And so we were just very clear that we were going to, you know, pick a couple that looked like they fit our sort of physical requirements and health requirements. And then we just said, okay, let's do it. We did not dwell. And I know some people do. It's a very personal decision.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just from, again, my experience talking to so many different families, and just to say, genetics is very funny. Genetics are very funny. They
Yeah,
have a mind of their own, and we don't know what that beautiful little miracle mix is going to look like.
exactly.
But
Exactly.
I do say, for some people, the kind of like the groups that I see is that for some people, they are looking for someone who has some of those physical characteristics that are important for them. But then you have other people who are not necessarily looking for the physical, but like the health background or an affinity to a specific sport or
Yep.
musical or things like that, or even just reading answers to kind of their open-ended questions
Yes.
that
You
help
feel
them
like
feel a
you could
connection.
bond. You feel like you could bond with them somehow. I remember when I was in my support group years ago, there was a woman who was just stuck on the fact that she wanted a donor to be from a specific like Scandinavian background. And it was really, really hard to find that. And she was stuck on it. And, you know, you kind of have to take a step back and think about really what's the most important thing, that you're going to have a baby. And you have to sort of come to terms with what the end goal is. And thankfully, you know, my husband and I were on the same page. So we were, once we picked our donor, we didn't look back.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Let's see. I'm catching up here. I mentioned we will.
Go ahead.
So there's a question here about your
Story.
story.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this is a great question. How did you talk about your egg donor baby's story so they understand their story? Can you share the family narrative you and your husband decided to share with your children? Absolutely. This is so, it's really important. And can you also talk about how she sees herself? So we decided, and early on, I actually went to a workshop that my clinic offered for talking and telling the story. And my daughter was like barely a year old when I did that. And I learned a lot about resources that are available and how really it is important to share that story early on, because then they are growing up with that identity. They know who they are. And so we had found a book, and there are a ton of resources out there, and it was very age appropriate, and it, you know, had pictures, and it really presented a narrative of you know, two parents and a helper mommy that you know, was helping this family, this couple realize their dream of having a baby. And so around age 4, I think we started reading her this book. And did she understand? Not really, but we kept the dialogue going. And we had this discussion with her as she got older. We reminded her that, you know, and I always to this day, I say, you're my gift. Jan is my miracle, Marissa's my gift. And they're both each my miracle and my gift, but we talk about why she's the gift, because somebody gave a gift to us. so that we could have her. And we just keep it very high level. Now she's going through family life in school and knows a little bit more about how babies are made. And so she's kind of getting it a little more, but we've kept the dialogue open. She sees herself. We talk about how I carried her. We've had a lot of discussion. She's very, very insightful. And she knows I carried her, that she was in my belly and that my body kept her alive and my nutrients were inside of her. So even though, there's a piece of that donor inside of her that makes her who she is, there's a lot of me that makes her who she is. So we have a very special relationship around it.
Lovely. It does look like there's another question about like working during this time and balance professional life.
It's a very good question. It was not easy, but I was so fortunate that at the time I was working for an organization that was very supportive. They didn't know that I was going through egg donation. But they knew that we were trying to have another baby. So I was working during and all throughout all my years of infertility, and I took advantage of the benefits that I had. It was challenging. The balance is very, very hard of your appointments and blood work and ultrasounds and everything, the travel to your clinic. It's a lot. And that's why for me, the support group and counseling were extremely important.
Someone asked if you had shared with your family what you were going through, and I wonder if that kind of goes back to the balancing with professional life.
Yes. We shared with our immediate family. We did. And it was a little hard for them to understand. That it's a different generation. But we did share, and they were really happy that we were going in that direction. They knew we wanted to expand our family. And when I became pregnant, it was like, it doesn't matter how it happened.
Um, I do have a question about asking about donors' AMH levels. Our donors all have to meet a standard requirement, even including hormone levels. So we are checking and approving based on our medical directors, um, and FDA guidelines and ASRM guidelines. So um, there's any advice on choosing a donor question. Had a chemical pregnancy in 2023 after looking for a donor for 3 months. I'm now on month 4, looking for a second egg lot.
Mm.
I mean, I don't, as far as choosing a donor, I would maybe suggest perhaps considering donors who we would call proven, who have a successful history, but it's information that we have that means that we know that there has been success, which can mean that there's success for others. But again, it's not a guarantee exactly, of course, because all the parameters are different. Um, but we can, if I think for some people it's reassuring to know that you're looking for a proven donor, especially if they haven't had success with a previous choice that maybe wasn't. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Allie.
Well, I think, and this is definitely not my expertise, but we were able to do a live birth guarantee option as well. And so I felt less pressure. I knew that if it didn't work the first time, we'd be able to do it again. And just knowing it's almost like an insurance policy. Like if it doesn't work the first time, we'll have other options. We also knew, okay, we're only going to go this many. If it doesn't work, I cannot do 6. Like after all I've been through, I knew I was going to reach a limit of what I could do. But I think that might have been why we didn't feel as much pressure choosing a donor, because we knew, you know,
You were protected. I completely agree. I would say that having the guarantee, I think it even, I don't know. I just there's some um, pieces of this that, again, like, are a miracle at the end of the day. Like, and so um, I think having the reassurance that you have a plan after just in case
Yeah.
can
Yes,
even just help in being successful.
exactly. Exactly.
Um, so there's a question about PGTA testing embryos and our live birth guarantee. That's definitely an option. That would be a definitely call us in so we can go into like what those options look like for you. Um, so someone who, let's say, is at our refund plan and they have multiple embryos remaining after a live birth, those embryos are yours. So you may decide if you'd like to continue to store them. There's going to be a cost for storage at the facility that you're working with. And then should you be interested in transferring those embryos in the future, you would simply be working out the cost of a frozen embryo transfer with your clinic. Um, you wouldn't need to pursue another egg lot unless you transfer all those embryos and are looking for another lot of eggs. Let's see. How do you talk to friends and family about choosing donor eggs?
You know, it's interesting. So, a lot of the conversations we've had with our family and friends have been after. I think at the time, think about it, it was 11, 12 years ago. And so egg donation wasn't as widely talked about back then. And this is why I really wanted to do this because I am so open about it. And so once Marissa was born, we started talking to our friends. And when they would come and visit, or we were having like intimate moments with people, we would say, so we wanted to share something with you about Marissa. And this is how she was born. And everybody, the people that we were closest to knew our struggle having children in the beginning. And it was just a very easy conversation for us, really easy conversation. And people were thrilled that we were able to find a way to expand our family. So, adoption is talked about very openly. So why not egg donation? And we were able to really have that conversation. It's not like I talk to, when I go to the grocery store, I don't, talk to the person at the checkout counter, like, here's my daughter. She was born via egg donation. But if it's someone who knows our story, they know the whole story.
Someone asked if you had obtained financial help or if
Mhm.
not.
A good question. We did. We were able to do some financing for this. And I think I had mentioned we were able to share the donor it was a shared donor option. So we shared with two other couples, which brought the cost down of the whole procedure. And it was also a 6-cycle, a guaranteed live birth situation. And on top of that, we were able to obtain some financing. Yes.
There are two companies that we work with. One is CAPEX MD, and another is Future Family. So there are financing options. There's another option for our clients in Canada, which is MediCard iFinance, I believe. So there are some options out there, and we're happy to get you connected to those resources
Yeah,
should
it was
you have questions
we
about it.
were it was actually quite reasonable. We were so thrilled when we were finished paying. We were like, "Yay, she's fully paid off." We can keep her.
Someone asked about the family dynamic between your genetic daughter and donor egg.
Yeah.
Um, how have you managed celebrating individual identities and
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, it. I think we just celebrate them the way we would celebrate any sibling or cousin or family member. Um, there is no difference. You don't feel, there is no difference. We never felt a difference. I bonded with her extremely well. In fact, breastfeeding her was easier than it was my older daughter. We had a bond from the minute she was born. I never looked back. I did, of course, it was a thought in my mind. Am I going to feel that bond the same way? But when I was pregnant, I never felt any different. And she came out and I was like, this is my job. This is my daughter. And, she's my little love bug.
The baby of the family.
Yes.
Do you happen to know the name of the book that you read?
Oh, I should have. I don't remember. If I can, maybe there's a way I can get it to you. I mean, I know where it is in my house. I can share that information. And there are more. I probably still have the materials from the workshop I attended years ago with the names of other resources and books, and I can share that with you.
Yeah, and I think if you do a little
Cool.
search, there's definitely a lot more books, even from when I started in 2017. Like there's been
There's
a
so
growing.
much.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I mean, Amazon probably sells everything that you need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Has your daughter had any questions about her egg donor?
Sometimes, and I have shown her, so I have baby pictures of her, and I've gone through it with her, and she does look like her a little bit. She looks a lot like my husband, but there are features that we point out, and we also talk about how athletic she was, and my daughter is a fierce competitive athlete. So yeah, we talk openly, and it was an anonymous process, so we'll probably never meet her. I wish we could because I'm so grateful. And I think we could have a relationship with her. I just feel like that could be something, but I don't think it's in the cards. So,
Someone asked what a good age to start talking to your child coming from an egg donor, and I think you mentioned you guys started
like
very early
4.
on and four.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
um, so I don't know if this was an option for you, but when choosing a donor, how important do you feel it is that the donor indicates that they are open for future contact with the child?
That was not that was not a possibility with the
Mhm.
program that we did. So, I mean, I think that that's if you are entering in a situation or a business relationship with your clinic in that way, I think that's a personal decision for you to
Yeah.
decide.
I think that's a good answer. Like we have donors who are what we call open for future contact, and some that have not signed up to be open for future contact. So the nice thing is that you do have that as an option.
Mhm.
Um, I would still say that regardless, even if you have chosen a donor who's not open for future contact, just kind of who we are as Donor Egg Bank USA, I would say in the future, if that was something that your child is interested in, reach out and we can always ask. The worst
Absolutely.
answer we can get is no, but a good answer we could get is yeah. So um, just, something, not a promise, but just an option
Yeah,
I
things could
think is
change.
important to, yeah, you never know. Um, let's see. Um, a few more questions about talking to your family about um can oh sorry, hold on. My page is moving. um do you have any contact or relationship with other families who use the same donor?
Not that I know of, but we do have contact. We have friends who have gone through the egg donation process. So we do have other friends that we know of. And it's a nice commonality.
Someone asked, are all eggs in a lot fertilized at the same time? And I would say yes. That is the standard way of fertilization. You would thaw all at once and fertilize all at once. Um, Somebody else asked about how many eggs come in a lot. Our lots vary. They can be 6, 7, or 8 eggs. That's on average how many are in any particular lot. If you're browsing on our website, it'll let you know how many there are, and it wouldn't change the price. The price is the same. Um, let's see. I'm 47, trying to conceive my first child and searching for my donor. I'm worried about being an older mom, but desperately want to have a child. Do you have any experience with women who are older going through this?
Oh, I thought that was for you.
Oh,
I mean, I have thoughts on that, but you should answer first.
oh, so I mean, everyone we're working with is in this group, in this age group. So to me, there's going to be fewer people who are um, in their late 30s, and then fewer people in like older, older 40, older than 50, something like that, right? 47 is really like the average age of any of our clients. And all of our clients, I mean, people, they have success, people are eager and ready to go through this process. If you feel that you are prepared and in a place where you want to move forward with donor egg, I mean, I haven't seen any difference between them and even our younger clients or our older clients. Like it's really a personal decision if you feel that you are ready for it. Um, you and your spouse, or if you're a single mom by choice, it's really a personal decision as far as how you feel, and then just with your healthcare provider based on if they feel like physically, you're healthy to move forward. And if not, you figure out what you need to do to take that next step. Um, that would be what my experience has been. And I would say the same amount of success across the board. Like we're seeing the same numbers.
It's the beauty of using a donated egg is that
Hmm.
your age really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you're ready to take on an infant at 47, I have two friends who they actually use surrogates, so a little bit of a different story, but in their late 40s.
Hmm.
Um, and they've got littles at that age, and they're
Thriving.
gorgeous, gorgeous children.
Running around.
Yep, yep.
Let's see. After so after going through failed IUIs and IVF, will insurance cover any parts of this? Is there a finance plan? So insurance just varies. It depends on the types of insurance you have. There are some, um, like a popular insurance that I hear about is Progeny. So if you have that insurance, I know, but even individual like Blue Cross Blue Shield, they may cover certain services.
Maybe even the medication if the procedure isn't covered. I think we were able
Mhm.
to get our meds covered for the cycle.
Yeah. So you really have to kind of dig in and do your research and find out what they do cover, and then talk to the clinic about what is going to be out of pocket. And if they have any other options, some places do have financing options. Like I mentioned earlier, we do work with some financing companies, so it makes things more possible for more people.
Right.
Were pregnancy symptoms different with your donor conceived baby? That's a
No,
good question.
I would no. I both pregnancies I had nausea the entire time. So nope, can't say it was different.
Hi.
But easy pregnancies otherwise. I had less, I feel like I had more peace of mind with this one because I knew it wasn't my egg. I didn't trust my own eggs. I was less nervous during this pregnancy.
Um, I have a question about donor egg donor age, early versus late 20s. I'll kind of reiterate, we follow FDA and ASRM guidelines, and ultimately our goal is to have the best donor options available on our website because we're seeking success mutually, right? So if we have any concerns, whether it's age or health or anything, we're not going to make a donor available. We're going to screen them out. So our donors, if you're a first-time donor, they can donate between ages 21 to 28. Repeat donors can donate up to 32, I want to say 31. And um, and I would say I trust all of the donors in our database. I wouldn't be able to have the conversations I have otherwise. So I feel very confident about that. So unless you have a recommendation by your doctor very specifically, but um, our goal is aligned with yours in getting you to success. And so we do take age into consideration, and um, that's only one piece of the screening process. So I think we have very well qualified donors listed. Um, and there's a few people who've asked how many frozen eggs are needed before a successful live birth, and I think this goes back again to the live birth guarantee option as really being an excellent option to choose because we really don't know. There are people who have success the first round. There are people who have success after three transfers or four transfers. It really varies. And I mean, even that can be the case even when you're not using donor eggs, even just, a naturally conceived pregnancy with a healthy embryo may have the same kind of chances. Now, um, I think just again for the peace of mind, having the guarantee protection, a refund opportunity, and in place gives you a little more peace of mind. But we do have some success rates listed on our website, and they do show that people probably can have success after one or after two. But there's always going to be outliers. There's always going to be people. So I can't really exactly say. I wish everyone had success as soon as possible. I guess that's my bottom line. And that's the goal of having the donors who we have, which are a small percentage of the people who apply in the first place, because we're trying to give you the best option for success. I feel like I've answered most, if not all, questions. There's been some overlaps. Um,
There was one I noticed in the chat. This is a really good one. What can I do if my husband is not on the same page as me with regards to donor egg? It's a really good question, and it's not uncommon for one partner to be further along than the other. And I think it's not going to work unless you're both on the same page. So I definitely think that you have to have a lot of conversation. Maybe you attend something like this together, get more information together, but have a lot of open conversation in order to get on the same page. That's a good opportunity for counseling together to talk about and find out why, what is really kind of that roadblock that is standing in the way of him getting on board. And it's okay. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get there eventually. I was very fortunate. My husband and I were in sync about pretty much everything the entire time. So, but we did a lot of talking about it.
yeah, I mean, I would say that's my experience as well. Most times it's going to go a lot smoother, even in the search. I mean, let alone deciding on moving forward. Just having both people on the same, with the same mindset, the same goal
Yep.
is really important.
Communication is key. Just keep talking.
Um, did you happen to see any other questions?
I haven't. I haven't. I think you've done a really good job of
Just
really
trying
kind
to
of
make
going
sure that
through them.
there were a
Yeah.
good number that overlapped.
Yeah.
Someone did ask about pricing. So our multi-glat refund plan is cost is listed on our website. It's at 37,800. Um, our assured refund plan, because that's in conjunction with the clinic, it varies from
Mhm.
clinic to clinic. And it also has 6 egg lots versus 4. So if you are at a specific clinic, maybe send us an email, send us a chat, or call us, and we can find out what the specific cost is for you. Um, and pricing, yeah, I think.
Oh, someone just asked in the chat, are there any supplements you took or other things you did that helped you with your pregnancy? I've heard acupuncture can help. So I did a lot of things during that time frame. Um, I would say acupuncture I did not necessarily to get pregnant, but to help with calming and relaxation. I did take, of course, I took folic acid and I took, a prenatal vitamin. I probably did a lot of the things that many of you are doing with experimenting with different diet and so on. I think what the important thing is to do what makes you feel good and, talk to your doctor about anything specific,
Yeah,
but anything to help reduce stress because we know it's a stressful process. Um, Acupuncture, I do love. I felt like it was really relaxing for me.
yeah.
S-
I
Um,
think it's important, exactly. Like, and I think doctors recommend that sometimes. So I think it's a good idea. Talk to your doctor
your doctor.
what their recommendations are. I know that there are some things I see trending online sometimes, but just make sure that that's okay for you.
Yes.
Because you want to give yourself the best opportunity possible. But I think you're right, like relaxation, if talking to your friends makes you feel good, if
Taking
going for
walks.
a walk, a swim, if any of those things, make you feel good, I think that's gonna be a good thing for you.
Yep.
All right. Well, we are getting to the top of the hour. Thank you so much, Allie. It's really nice
For
meeting you,
having me.
having you.
So nice meeting you.
Um,
I loved all the questions. Thank you
yes,
so much.
thank you so much for all the questions. Again, our team is here from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard, should you want to call us. And yeah, check out that Resolve website. There's some excellent resources there. Um, and we look forward to chatting with you guys again sometime soon. Take care.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.